greenwashing is basically, there used to be whitewashing, but now it's called green because you're using sustainable activities and projects to tell a lie or telling them and doing things in the wrong way and then trying to create a different picture. So it's greenwashing. Okay, you may not be using renewable energy, but you're saying, hey, we use renewable energy, so you're putting a greenwashing. You may not be having reporting mechanisms in place to report your ESG, and you may be falsifying the data, so that's a greenwashing that is happening. So that is catching on a lot. I mean, if there are a particular set of people who will find shortcuts.
Yes.
I mean,
in all fields,
in all
businesses.
And the world is made up of all kinds of different people. So the greenwashing piece is picking up because, doing things right, especially in the ESG space, also requires investments. You may need to change some technologies, you may need to change your business processes, maybe machineries if they're polluting, or build in new systems in place. Now these cost huge money, and it's a huge cost. What's the shortcut? Let's greenwash. Let's say we did 10%, but we did 50.
So what's the incentive for companies for doing greenwashing?
Well, it's no incentive. I think it's a false incentive that they can get away with it. I think the consequences are larger because you have this whole impact investing banking which has taken place where banks are asking for your ESG scores before they fund your projects. So when they greenwash, they think, well, we can get some investments, we may get our brand reputation be built, but the consequences are just the opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
What kind of penalties can we see in, are there any regulations around greenwashing to be a deterrent for greenwashing?
SEBI also has regulations, but they all come now in the form of reporting. So we are, almost a decade behind global when it comes to such important benchmarks and all, but we are getting there. So I think the latest was, I think globally the Securities and Exchange Board has upheld Invesco and fined them because they also said they had a lot of their processes were ESG driven and they are not. And they have not fully integrated, plus the reporting is not right. So funds can be taken away. Banks will not invest you, and that's a big loss because so many things depend on funds, right? How do you pay people? How do you take or achieve your targets? How do you achieve your bottom line if you don't have? So it can very much impact completely your business if you greenwash. And then of course the reputation piece, because nobody is going to touch you, and all of these are in the public domain. If you type in Invesco and ESG, you will see the fund, how the Securities Board globally has upheld, given them a big whip. So I think the consequences of greenwashing are not good. They may be short-term shortcut benefit, but there are a lot of Hawkeye out there keeping a watch as to what is happening, and
so
it's going to catch up.
Do we expect the next dialogue on ethics in AI around greenwashing?
Definitely. My subject close to my heart on sustainability and what big role ethics can play in it.
One of the most critical questions which I had parked for later was, is ethics in AI making to boardroom discussions?
Very much so. Very much so. And I think two things are coming out. One is that board members need to update themselves on this subject. Second is the gap of their understanding.
Updating on this subject, understanding of AI, its application?
Yes, say I'm representing a particular company, how is it using AI? What are the implications? What's the risk management plan? What could go wrong? What's our business continuity plan if the AI doesn't work the way we want it to work? Right, and with AI also comes the whole threat of cybersecurity and everything that comes in. So the second piece is how can board members be trained to ensure that they understand not just AI but the threats associated with them, and how do you have a diversification plan if cybersecurity threats take place, what do you want to do? So I think board members are the custodian, not just of the business strategy but of the reputation also, and cybersecurity threats and AI are big topics. If as a board member you are not up to date on this, I think you will not be able to make an efficient mark on the board.
Yeah, and the performance of board is
always under scrutiny.
Absolutely. This is one of the most important dialogues to take place and I'm glad that it's already taking place with host and the anchor such as Sarita. Now, as you heard, that an important dialogue like ethics in AI is reaching everywhere. The boardrooms, probably schools, colleges, and in various forums nationally and internationally. Some of the key takeaways, as you heard Sarita, has been that whatever has been done, a lot has to be done. It is something, a runway that is constantly forming up, the roads are just appearing, and you got to just run, right? A dialogue which will have its own resonance for a longest time that we will see. Sarita, one thing, if wish is granted, okay, that you got to, this is the magic wand given to you. What will you fix with ethics and AI, and which sector will you pick up first?
No, I think what I would really love to see is a birth of a strong regulatory framework in India. And I think a voluntary movement by companies and organizations to adhere to it. And I think that's where FIA can play a big role by continuing these dialogues, increasing the stakeholder gambit that we have, taking these conversations maybe to academia, to universities, to schools also, and trying to make people aware. Because I don't think there's anybody who's not using AI. Even children in their video games are using AI.
Yeah.
ChatGPT has changed the world for many people. So I think that's if I had a magic wand, I would look at a framework for regulation that would ensure that everybody follows that. But it could be a voluntary framework, no harm to begin with. Let's do that. But when you do a voluntary framework, you're taking responsibility and accountability for ensuring you're doing things right.
I think well said. In fact, if you're watching this interview, one of the important message here is that AI is not going to go out of a life. Whether you're a 7-year-old or a 70-year-old, you are already using AI and it's coexisting with you. The only way to be ahead in this game is that AI, whatever you're using, should not come and affect you adversely. And just to give some examples, how AI can lack ethics if it has biases. Biases that may eliminate your chances of probably getting the best out of a work, business, interview, we don't know. The other way you realize how ethics are compromised in AI is when maybe the system is making you redundant for some biases build up in this business transformation. So basically it's a layer that one adds while working with AI. Moral compass, morals, value system. These are our generational heritages which runs in our family, in our blood. All I think the ask is that these moral values and systems should not only come at your work, but as well as in the systems that you are making, or they're going to be used by anybody across the spectrum of 7 to 70. I believe this is one dialogue, Sarita, that has its own life cycle. What do you next want to do with your podcast?
That's a tough one too, because I think I've just begun.
You're already completing a season with the highest number of interviews.
Yeah, but there's just so many sectors to cover and so many people. I mean, I need somebody. I have to include an IT sector, right? That's where the whole AI is being used.
Right.
But I think what I would like to see is a movement, and I would like to have small roundtable dialogues, perhaps on this. Maybe led by academicians if possible, and see where that goes, and could take it state level, regional level, maybe join hands with, I don't know, an industry body.
Collaborations and
collaborate
stuff. Yeah.
With industry. I mean, sky is the limit, really see how do you take that. Could also, we are already the forerunners, as I said, not many people are now talking about ethics in AI, but I think when we started there was nobody else.
There was nobody. But that didn't stop us to take the first step, right? And if we can start a dialogue, you all can. Volunteers is all FIA has. There are think tankers from various walks of life, volunteers who are lending their voice. There are corporates that want to take this dialogue to their boardrooms. And I was with a candid chat with the host of the exclusive podcast series that talks ethics in AI. And this was my chance to interview Sarita and get her sense on her experience. Your message to the listeners of FIA as well as EtherWire, the whole channel, what do you have to say? Volunteers required now, and let the dialogue open. So whatever your message
I think my message is very simple. Listen to your conscious. Don't let things go the way, don't let go of your consciousness. And I think once you let your consciousness be in the forefront, you'll automatically do things which are right. And for me, that's very important, because I see a lot of things not happening right. The Gen Z is in a hurry to get things done very quickly. The millennials have a different mindset altogether. So I think we need to bring back that consciousness and keep that right in front of us. You know, that these are our values, maybe in the moral science or so. And look at it, it should be there in front of you every day.
Right.
When you get up, that's the first thing. Am I doing things right?
I just remembered one thing which I would like to conclude with. You know, you must have heard in the morning, watch yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. You're the best. I think you can also add that compliment, oh, I love your moral values. You are the most ethical person I have met, right? I think the bigger message which I learned, that all of us has a one common denominator, wherever we live, whatever background we come from. And that one common denominator across all of us is our moral value system. And all we have to do is bring it at the forefront and be conscious about the applications that we are using, the data that we are integrating or we are managing through AI applications. Thanks for joining this interview with Sarita Bahl, talking exclusively on ethics in AI and her experience in hosting this amazing podcast, which is now getting into a season 2. Thank you, Sarita. It was wonderful to have you, and no one better than you who could have done justice to this dialogue. And
thank you so much. I mean, it really felt different being on the outset.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for joining EtherWire, and stay tuned.